Hey guys, it's Thomas, also known as LBtwunk, and welcome back to my channel. Today is Valentine's Day, so first of all, happy Valentine's Day. As you could tell by the title of today's video, we are back here again today to talk about something I'm very passionate about, something that I have come on YouTube and have talked about so many times, and that is HIV. If this is the first video you're seeing of me and you don't really know much of my backstory, I'm gonna try to just sum it up real quick. I do have many videos on my channel regarding this topic. When I was 17 years old, I'm 23 now, I went to my first Pride Festival, and at this Pride Festival, tell me why I got fucking tested. Thinking nothing really of it, and I ended up coming out positive for HIV. Like I had mentioned, that happened when I was 17 years old. Now I'm 23. I've had this under my belt for about 6 years now. Way back when, I made a video talking about dating with HIV and like being HIV positive, kind of dating from my perspective. As the years go on, and I've rewatched that video before, I kind of rewatched it a bit ago, and I just didn't really like resonate with like how I was really feeling when I made that video. Things were still fresh in a sense. I mean, it had probably been like almost 2 years. I was also very young, and I also just have not really updated you guys on this topic, kind of like of how I'm feeling. I feel like dating is a really sensitive topic. It's very personal, and you know, one thing I don't mind doing on this channel is getting personal. I'm here today to kind of give you guys an update on kind of just like my feelings dating with HIV. I guess really the first thing I kind of want to go into this video is talking about my relationships in the past. Have I dated people who are positive? Have I dated people who are negative? Kind of been a mix. So I have both dated people who are HIV positive and people who are HIV negative. So I kind of want to get into that more and talking about how that kind of went, because I know we're all curious, like if you sleep with someone who has HIV and you're HIV negative, is that something that you should like kind of be worried about? When it comes to how I've kind of found people to date, being realistic, I have dated people I've met through social media, through dating apps, and people who I have known in real life, because I've been so open online with my status and I've been just like very public with it, right? I feel like that tends to kind of attract people who are HIV positive towards me as an individual, at least in like the dating pool. And I'm not trying to say this as like up my own ass or anything. Like when it comes to dating someone else who is positive, it really isn't much different than just like a normal relationship would be. Because we are both positive, I feel like there is that lack of worriness in the relationship. I feel like when it comes to that, I don't really have too much to touch on that topic, more so than those have just felt like normal relationships. What really felt different was dating someone who's negative. If you're someone who's negative and you're watching this video and you probably clicked on this wondering like, oh my god, can I date someone who has HIV? I'm just gonna serve up some facts real quick, some literal research facts right here. A lot of people who are negative's worry is that when it comes to sleeping with their partner, that they're gonna get it. Well, an undetectable viral load means that the amount of HIV present in someone's body is too low to detect in a blood test, meaning that it cannot be transmitted through sex. As long as your person is taking care of themselves and they're undetectable and you're negative, you don't even have to be on PrEP in order to have sexual intercourse with them. Let's talk about PrEP real quick. In my personal opinion, do I think if I was dating someone negative that I would prefer them to be on PrEP? Honestly, 100% like yes. In my personal situation, a lot of guys who I have dated who have been negative don't really want to take PrEP for the side effects. God forbid I know what those side effects are. I don't, because I never got to go through that PrEP era. Genuinely, you could look this stuff online, it is a fact. So now I guess the next thing that I want to talk about, stigma, and like kind of the stuff I kind of face using these dating apps, being realistic, using these hookup apps, and kind of talk about like some of the experiences I kind of have. And I'm gonna be really open and honest here, because there ain't no other way to do this. God, I'm exposing myself. Say you're in a movie and you get Grindr, and we all know what Grindr is known for, right? I guess a pretty common experience that I have is someone will be very interested. We're exchanging conversation back and forth, there might be a few photos back and forth, and then it comes to like, oh hey, like do you want to meet? I always know that I'm gonna have to drop this bomb, and I feel like too, a reason why I have been so public about this, I don't quite literally like the fact that like I have to quote unquote drop a bomb on there. People don't know who I am, but like IRL, like it's part of the reason I've been so public with it. Like, I always disclose it. Now, do I think that it's something that should be disclosed? I think from a moral standpoint, yes. From a scientific standpoint, no, it should not. But that's a whole conversation that is very controversial, and I'm not here to start discourse today. I'm just here to talk about my life. So I'll go ahead and I'll tell them my status, and there is one of three things that could happen. The most common thing is just right off the bat, like, I'm not interested. The next most common thing is the block button. I utilize the block button too. I can't really be butthurt from someone blocking me on like a hookup app. Like, I'm sorry, but I just quite literally cannot be butthurt. And third is that they're cool with it and they're educated about it. Those first two answers, I am led to believe it's for two reasons. Actually, no, it's all for one reason. It's just the fact that people aren't educated about it. Sometimes too, when I tell people and it turns into a bunch of questions, I get that people are naturally curious and stuff. I always do my best to try and educate people. I feel like I almost kind of at a point can become kind of annoyed with it because Google is free, but also at the same time, you know what, like, I feel like I was put on this earth to make some differences, and if this is one of the differences that I need to make in my life, then you know what, I'm built for it. People who kind of say they're not interested or go straight for that block button solely based on the fact that that is their worry are just kind of uneducated about the topic. And I guess what I would say to someone who's negative is like, really just make sure like you trust that person. I can kind of relate in that same boat because I genuinely don't know who I kind of got the dizzy from. Not the dizzy. I'm trying to provide some comedic relief here. There's a little bit about that experience. Dating for me, as someone who is HIV positive, I kind of try to look at it as a whole as if it's just normal dating, you know? I kind of have something to add, and this is gonna be for the ones out there who are HIV positive who actively kind of look for other people who are HIV positive to date because they find a comfort in them. As much as I understand that you want to feel comfortable and that that is something that might be scary to you, thinking about dating outside of like people who can relate on that kind of topic, I don't like to limit myself when it comes to my options in life. If I were to solely kind of look for people who can kind of relate on that topic and who are also HIV positive, I would feel like I'm limiting myself. It genuinely will help stop the stigma around HIV. I mean, in the past 6 years, the whole stigma around HIV has changed. We have now, in the age of the internet, been able to consume so much more information about it and spread information across to a wider range of people. That has definitely educated a lot of people, and I feel like there are people out there who aren't going to judge you based on your status, and that's one of the biggest things as a gay man that like we can fear, right, is being judged for our status and getting that disappointment from people. Again, I just need you to remember that if someone is rejecting you solely based on that fact, is not literally because of you. It is because that they are uneducated about the topic and refuse to inform themselves. Some people really live in ignorance. You know what they say, ignorance is bliss, right? In this situation, it's kind of not. That kind of behavior from people, it can be very harmful to someone's mental health. I have learned kind of how to tune it out. It's really not the biggest deal to me. I'm not really gonna care if someone cares that I have HIV. To me, that's just not someone who's worth kind of give my energy to, you know? As a person too, I understand that like in life we can kind of get lonely. I get lonely, but I feel like I definitely am the kind of person to funnel that energy into something productive, into something creative. Especially for me, my art is kind of a huge way in the way I express myself. I just kind of want people to know HIV isn't something that should really stop you in life, especially dating. No, trust me, I know how hard it can kind of be to find out this information and to kind of run through the motions of like having to get on medication, having to take so many blood tests. Just there's so many like details when you find out, and it can all be very overwhelming. And I can imagine a lot of the people who watch these videos, regardless if you're part of my audience and you just are here to support, or you're someone who just found me on YouTube, I want you to kind of know that like I have been positive for 6 years. I am living a fantastic life. I have obviously had my bumps in the road, just like we all have, but it's never been something to really like stop me, you know? Now, I really would like to sit here and tell you guys like more about like my experiences with dating, but the thing is, I feel like my dating life has been absolutely normal. Sometimes people need to hear that, especially people who are positive. I want to let you know that like my dating life is normal. It's gonna affect my life as much as I let it, and I really have built this healthy relationship with my status. My upbringing is partially defined. I got this when I was 17, and I've grown up through my older teenage years and into my young adulthood living with it. The peace I kind of find in everything it's beautiful, honestly. I have grown so much. And another thing I would just kind of like to update everybody on, because there have been questions about my medication situation. Last year I made a video where I was like, I'm stopping HIV pills, and that was going good until I broke my leg. So I was getting injections, but I had broken my leg in January of 2022, and I had to go back on medication, and I really didn't feel comfortable coming online and like talking about that because there was just so much, like, you know, just going on already. As of a couple months ago, I'm back on my injections and I'm just living life. It's kind of nice to be back on those injections. I don't have to take medication every day. My personal journey I've kind of had with HIV, I've been undetectable since I started treatment. Well, not since I started treatment, but a little bit after, you know, when the medication starts medicating. I sit here almost every day, and like, it's genuinely the last thing on my mind is kind of worrying about that situation. And I'm here to show people that you don't have to worry too. I wish I could tell you guys that I got more to dive into, but I really don't for today. Happy Valentine's Day to the girls, gays, and the theys, and anyone else who watches this, if you're straight or whatever. And just remember, your status does not define you. Anyways, guys, happy Valentine's Day. Love you guys the mostest. XoXo. LBtwunk. Talk to you guys soon.